I don't have any idea why I think you're in
It
Nebraska.
makes me question what I'm doing. I'm not gonna lie.
Look at that. Look at that coffee mug. Look at that coffee mug. It's freaking rad. That's what I'm saying.
It'd be a lot cooler if it was at this old house's shop. I'm just saying.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did. All right, everybody. I'm Eric Aune from mechanicalhub.com. I'm also a master plumber and owner of Aune Plumbing here in central Minnesota. I've got two buddies on the line with me, and as part of a program with the Milwaukee GRID Apprenticeship Group, we have been asked to talk about some things about our trades that we find exciting, things that we do to keep organized, things like that. So with me is Michael Flynn. Michael, you do HVAC work, correct? And you're out on the East Coast someplace. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Michael Flynn. I do HVAC install, some service, and in New Jersey, I'm just doing installs, putting HVAC equipment in, air conditioning, heating, boilers, you name it, I put it in.
That's awesome. And so to really mix things up here, we've got an electrician with us, which I know sounds crazy. Plumbers, HVAC, and electricians, we can all get along just fine. We've got Adam Sperry. Adam, you're in central Iowa. You do electrical work on heavy commercial and really all kinds of things, right? Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Adam Sperry, located in central Iowa, journeyman electrician. I've been in the trade for just over 20 years, and I do commercial and industrial electrical installations and service work.
You know, Milwaukee has this GRID Apprentice group, and there was a poll put out there. They wanted to know, what do you want to hear from people in your industry? So we thought, why don't we get together with a HVAC guy, somebody that does electrical work. I myself, I'll cover the plumbing side. So some of the questions that were put out there for us to talk about our experiences and our thoughts, some, people that have been through an apprenticeship program or have gotten past that stage in their career and now have been working out in the field for a while. So, Adam, I want to throw this first one to you. One of the questions that came up the most is what do you most enjoy about your job?
So in our job, in and of so much what we do, I guess, it's not a lot of different projects. I'm on primarily larger projects, but it's still shifting from one project to another. And one of my favorite parts is seeing that process from pile of material to finished product at these projects. I mean, that sense of accomplishment you get when you turn around and you're like, we built that and we wired that. And the reason certain things work is because, we've spent the last 8 months or a year doing what we do. That sense of accomplishment and that process, that start to finish at these projects is probably what I enjoy the most. That and the relationship with the customer, because some customers, they find it hard to see from a blueprint what they're going to get when they're done. And that kind of relationship you build with a customer or end user throughout that construction process to make sure they get what they want, and then seeing that they've got exactly what they want at the end of it is pretty rewarding as well.
It is. It is. So, Michael, that sense of accomplishment to you comes in a lot of different ways. You do a lot of service work too. So not only are you doing installation or replacement, but service and repair. So, Michael, speak to that too. What do you think about, at the end of the day, what are you enjoying about your job?
So basically, my standard for an install is very high. So I'm going to piggyback right off of Adam because, seeing something go in and the finished product is fantastic, but seeing the before and after and literally the look on the customer's face when they come down and I show them everything and they, 99% of the time they say, wow. So the wow factor is definitely huge for me.
I think you guys will both identify with this, but for me, it's always been when people ask me, what do you like about your job? Or why did you go into the trades? And as an apprentice, you might question this, but I'll tell you why I did it. I really like when I can start with a pile of stuff and make something that works. I mean, it's pretty simple. I'm not trying to oversimplify it. When I was a kid, I played with Legos and all that kind of stuff. We all did something like that. Or I'd like to build a fort in the backyard. I was fortunate enough to be able to do stuff like that. That is what made me realize later on in life that this is the kind of work I like to do. And so moving on in my career, I started, realizing like what I was doing early on was new construction. We did a lot of really high-end residential work and some small commercial work as plumbers. And I worked for a big company, 30 trucks on the road, things like that. And eventually I was doing the same things over and over. So Adam, you talk about doing, the same kind of project kind of for a little, longer periods of time. You're not doing something different every single day, although within your project, I know you are, but you're on that same job site for maybe sometimes months or weeks at a time. And Adam, I want you to start on that because I know you do a lot of different kind of work, and maybe you didn't always do what you're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, I started out residential, but shifted pretty early on to kind of that commercial atmosphere, and then worked some industrial stuff into it as I was in the trade a little bit longer. But I mean, everything's going to get repetitive. Most of the projects I'm on are anywhere from 5 to 12 months. And so even in and of that project, like there are some things that get repetitive and it gets a little boring. As far as in your career in general, I know too many guys that put off continuing education until they need it to renew a license. You've always got that group of guys that at the end of the license period are trying to cram in some continuing education to keep moving. I constantly seek out that continuing education when it's offered because I enjoy what I do and I enjoy the trade. And the more I know about it, the easier it gets for you, and then the more you can enjoy it from that aspect because you're not struggling as much to do what you do. As far as on site, one thing I tell all of my apprentices is to pay attention, not just to what you're doing or what you're asked to do or the electrical side of things, but I pay attention and have conversations with plumbers on occasion, HVAC guys, pipe fitters, anybody I can, and I try and understand how their work affects my work and how my work affects their work, so that coming into a project, I at least have some kind of an idea of how that system works, even though it's not mine, and how to make sure that we're working well together. Because if you don't pay attention to other people and learn from them at least a little bit, it's going to make it that much harder for you to get done what you need to do as well.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Mike, you brought up the fact that your standards for the end result on your jobs are really high. It couldn't be more evident that, when we open up your Instagram, we see, at Flintstone, we see your installs and they're beautiful. And you've come a long ways, even just in the last few years, because it's apparent that you've made that your priority. And not that it wasn't a priority before, but you've really stepped up your game. And I got to imagine that is one of the things that you've taken pride in, but you didn't just land there. Like, how did you arrive at this? Like, this kind of goes along with this question, I think. And, what are you doing to stay sharp? How did you get to the point where you knew about all these new products or these new methods of putting pipe together and boilers, stuff like that?
I think the best quote is improving always in all ways. So, whether it's, bending EMT or bending pipe, it just the will to succeed and make yourself better really helps you stay sharp, because nothing in the residential area is exactly the same. So no job is a cookie cutter.
Right on. No, I think for me, some of the things that have kept me sharp, one of the things top of the list, social media, for sure. You see a lot of different personalities, a lot of different types of work, and a lot of different approaches to solving problems similar to your own that you're dealing with. And I think that is useful as long as you have an open mind and you keep in mind that things are different all over the country. Well, guys, I want to thank you so much, honestly, for taking the time today to sit down and talk about this stuff. I really do know that there's going to be somebody out there that's going to benefit from this conversation. You guys, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Tune in soon. We'll have another one of these roundtable discussions for you, covering topics hopefully that are useful to the GRID apprenticeship program.